Welcome to the Future of Resolution, Miles Mediation and Arbitration's podcast. On today's episode of the Future of Resolution podcast, Miles Senior Neutral David Nutter sits down with Nekia Hackworth Jones and Wade Malone, who are both partners at Nelson Mullins here in Atlanta. Wade is the chair of the Business Litigation team at Nelson Mullins and a co-founder of the Atlanta Bar Association's Summer Law Internship program. Nekia handles white-collar criminal defense, government investigations, and business litigation at the firm. Wade and Nekia were both recently honored with a Community Service Award by the Atlanta Bar Association for their leadership managing the Summer Law Internship program, a program that's designed to connect high school students with opportunities for paid internships with Atlanta area law firms, corporations, pro bono organizations, and courts. The Summer Law Internship program was originally established in 1993 and has facilitated over 735 paid internships, providing students with valuable work experience, a deeper understanding of the law, and mentorship opportunities.
Wade, my pleasure to be meeting with you and Nekia after all these years. Wade and I, we've been friends since 1987. And Nekia, I think I met you maybe in 1992 or 3 as part of the Thurl mock trial program. And you all have gone on to great things. And it's my pleasure to be here today with you. And thank you.
And thank y'all for giving this opportunity to talk about the Atlanta Bar Association's Summer Law Internship program.
Thank you. Wade and Nekia, I want you guys to share briefly how we did meet. You guys are both partners at Nelson Mullins. Nekia, you've had a career that Wade and I have loved watching, Harvard Law grad and 10 years in the Department of Justice, including getting all the way up to Associate Deputy Attorney General. Am I right about that?
That's correct, that's right.
So it's just an amazing thing, and you also happen to be a graduate of the Summer Law Internship program. So maybe to start out, Wade, how did you and I meet, and then how did we meet Nekia? And Nekia, jump in on that.
Absolutely.
You and I met my first day at King & Spalding in November of 1987. We were young associates coming off federal clerkships, and as luck would have it, our offices were next door to each other, and thus was born a friendship that continues to this day that included each of us being a part of the other's wedding. So it's been a very special and meaningful friendship, which I'm grateful for.
And so, Nekia, how did you encounter the two of us?
How did the magic happen?
Exactly.
Right? Well, I vividly remember I ended up at D.M. Thurl High School, which was in fact my zone high school, but I recall that my parents had some trepidation because the school at that time had a reputation for being, tough in certain aspects. But the shining star of the school was the Law and Government Magnet program back then in the early to late 90s, and I'd always wanted to be a lawyer. I really didn't understand why, but I just remember watching television shows and just really being enamored with courtrooms and trials and lawyers, and realized that I really didn't know what lawyers did on a daily basis, and that a great way to find out was to learn more about law, politics, and government. And so after twisting my parents' arms, I end up at D.M. Thurl High School in the Law and Government Magnet program. And one of the extracurricular activities that was promoted by the Magnet program was a mock trial team. I thought, finally, I have my day in court, right? Where I can actually play out or act out the things that I had seen on various, courtroom drama TV shows and judge shows. And in walk you, David, Wade, Comer Yates, Tom Walmsley, Sally Yates, and a host of other mock trial coaches who I didn't realize at that time you all were just young lawyers yourselves. Because to me, you might as well have been Supreme Court justices, right? Because of the fact that you had devoted so much time to us and poured into us the way that you did. I really had no appreciation that you were starting off in the profession yourselves, but had taken the time to teach us as young people all about the legal profession and all about the practice of law.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it's so true. We were very, very young ourselves. So, Wade, how did the mock trial program get started at D.M. Thurl? You were kind of on the ground floor of that.
I was got involved maybe a year or two into it. The Atlanta Bar Association adopted Thurl as its high school because it wanted to be enriching the lives of youth. Therrell, as Nekia described, had a law and government magnet summer, and that gave rise to the mock trial team, which Comer Yates started, I believe, in 1988.
And Comer really was the Pied Piper.
Comer absolutely was the Pied Piper. I started coaching the mock trial team in 1990, and then Nekia was a freshman on our 91-92 team. But those were fantastic years. I coached for 6 years, and the relationships that were formed, during those years remain in place to this day. But the coaches were, David Nutter, Comer Yates. Sally obviously became the Deputy Attorney General of the United States. Ron Dixon, who is the Deputy District Attorney for Fulton County. Maria Hughes, who's a very successful lawyer in North Carolina. It was just an incredible experience to be able to work with those people, but most importantly, to meet and get to work with the students at Therrell, including Nekia. So, had the mock trial team. What I'll always be proud of about those years is how much work went into it. We had some fantastic teams, and we had fantastic teams because we had fantastic students working hard. And one year, I think it was 95, it might have been your senior year, Nekia, we counted up and we practiced 27 straight days, not business days. And, but it was fun. And we were on an ambitious mission to just absolutely do our best. And so, and
it was before we had kids.
It was before we had kids. And, it was a busy winter. Mock trial would always start January 1st and go till roughly March 1st.
And so it's from that environment of the bar, Atlanta Bar adopting DM Therrell High School, and then the Comer getting the mock trial program started. Out of that, it was that environment that ultimately led to the summer law internship program. Tell us how that program then got its start.
Again, all credit goes to Comer in starting the program. Comer thought that there was a void in providing opportunities to the students that we had come to know at Therrell High School. So he envisioned formation of a summer law internship program, but a meaningful working internship program as opposed to a shadowing program. Nothing a matter with shadowing intern program, but that's not how he envisioned it. So the Comer, Terrence Croft was the president of the bar that year. He bought in and rolled his sleeves up, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, here we are 27 years later, and Terrence is still involved, encouraging and doing everything he can, and then Tom Walmsley and myself. And so that came to be in the spring of 1993, and we started recruiting law firms, to host interns, and then that first class had roughly 25 or 26 interns.
And Nekia, were you in that first class?
I was not actually. I did not intern with the summer law internship program until my senior year, or having graduated en route to college after my senior year, which was 1995.
Okay.
So I did not have the chance to be in the founding class, unfortunately, but many of my friends were.
Yeah, and so, but you were like the third year in or something,
That's right. I was slip 3.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so, from your experience, what did that program do for you in terms of advancing your career in life, really?
I mean, I know so many of the mentors and coaches and friends that I have now through this program, including you, David, and you, Wade, will not give yourselves credit, but really it meant everything. That was my first real job. That was my first real paycheck. It was the first time I had to get up and do what now I do every day, right? I had to wake up at a specific time. I had to put on what I call, my version of my battle armor, my suit. I had to get out in Atlanta traffic and commute. And most importantly, in my view, learned so much from Wade and his colleagues. I actually was Wade's intern during my summer at Varner, Stevens, Humphreys, and White. And so I'm literally with him every day, seeing what happens in a deposition, knowing what a court reporter even does, learning how to use a copy machine without breaking it, or organizing a copy room, really seeing the day-to-day practice of law outside of the courtroom drama that first attracted me to the profession. I got to see all the hard work that goes behind the moments that actually hit the newspapers, and that we didn't have the internet back then, so I guess it was really just the newspapers. Yeah. But the things that people would talk about, you know, those were sort of the popularized moments, but all the hours of study and time and preparation that lawyers put into their work each and every day, it was the first time I saw that. And so for me, I think really that's where the rubber meets the road with many of the interns when you're a young person, because of course, everybody loves those shining moments when you're sort of in the spotlight, but when you see all of the daily grind and you still love it, that's how you know this is what's for you, and that's what the program did for me. Despite all the hours, I was still in love with the practice of law. That's right. My parents probably would have preferred if I was on a bus because I had to drive myself. They fortunately had an extra vehicle, a spare vehicle for me. So I was sort of driving along 285, much to their chagrin. And this is before cell phones and everything else. So I think they were just hoping that I would live through every day. But it was tough. I mean, I remember just being exhausted. I was thinking, people do this every day? Like they wake up and they have to go to the same place and come back home and do it all over again? But you're absolutely right. Many of my friends, my fellow students were on multiple buses, literally, you know, planes, trains, and automobiles, it felt like, trying to get to these, trying to get to their job locations. But that's the reality of the profession and of a working person. And for people like me, it was my first true insight into being a professional. Yeah.
And so, Wade, you know, starting out, I know you had certain goals and parameters for the program, and part of it is getting to work on time. That was certainly one of your lessons. Let's talk about the goals of the program when it got started, and you and Comer and others were building the program, and Nekia was talking about just the effort it took to get to your firm. And I know one of your mantras is get there early. So tell us about the goals and parameters when you guys were starting out in the summer law internship program.
Sure. The goals in 1993 are the same goals we have in 2019. We want to give the students at least three things. One is a meaningful work experience. Two, we want them to learn about the law. And three, we want them to develop mentor relationships that will stay with them. In terms of what our expectations for them, we want the interns to learn that in life and certainly in a professional setting, everything matters. I'm stealing Nekia's mantra, early is on time is late. If you're supposed to be at the office at 8 o'clock, aim to be there by 7:45. Learn how to have a proper handshake. Learn how to tie your tie properly. Learn how to take notes in a meeting. Learn how to follow up. Learn how to have a business lunch and have a discussion. We want the students to use the summer to almost be a sponge, to be around people in the legal community and learn everything they can. Does that mean every student is going to become a lawyer? No, that does not, but we're hoping that the skills that are developed each summer are skills that they can use when they go away to college, when they go interview for jobs, and as they're going about their careers. As I was chatting here, I was remembering something we've started doing the last 8 or 10 years. One of the laziest questions you can be asked in an interview is, tell me about yourself. It is a total softball, awkward question, and most people are not prepared for that question. But we work on it every summer, and inevitably an intern will call us back and say, hey, I just went and interviewed, and the first question they asked me was, tell me about yourself, and I had a well thought out answer. So again, just a meaningful and challenging experience from start to finish, and then hopefully they can use it as a springboard.
Yeah, so there's a whole orientation for the summer law interns, and as I was looking through the materials that you've put out over the years, you've got boot camps, you've got essay competitions. Tell us a little bit about, it's way more than just the young people being placed in law firms. There's a lot more going on. So tell us a little bit, both of you, about that experience and what the fullness of the program is.
One thing we commit to our hosts, including Miles Mediation, the law firms, judges, and whatever, we're going to do everything we can to prepare your intern to succeed in your office so they can contribute in your office. So we have 4 mandatory orientations, and the goals of those or for the students to understand what's expected of them and what they can expect. All of us at some point walked in a law office or a judge's chambers for the first time, and what is expected. And so the orientations are used to hammer and emphasize professionalism, the importance of the attorney-client privilege, what lawyers do, what you can be expected to do in your office. So we have 4 of those, and I think those are incredibly important to the students succeeding. It's interesting, we started off in the early years only doing 2 orientations. As the program has gotten bigger, we now do 4. And one thing we started doing, and I'd love for Nika's perspective, both as a former intern and now a co-chair, one thing we started doing is after we do the initial introductions, that we're not fooling around in this program, we give them what's called a progress test, because we've already given them information and so forth, and we want to see, are the students paying attention? That's not meant to necessarily intimidate them, it's just to say we mean business. Nekia?
Absolutely. The program has evolved, I think, in a wonderful way from that perspective, because it goes beyond, as you said, David, just being in the law firm. There are opportunities now for students to get to know more about themselves, obviously, but more importantly, to learn each other, because now the program has grown such that we have now almost 36 high schools represented in the program as recently as last year. So you have an opportunity for young people to connect that may not have otherwise known each other. You also really do have a chance to teach them more about the law. So they're learning it and picking it up as they're in their respective internship locations. But we are actually sitting down and, in a sense, having sort of a mini law school, right? We're teaching them about contracts. We're teaching them about torts. As Wade says, we're teaching them about professionalism, confidentiality. So we're taking full advantage of sort of that devoted time that they've given us during the summer. And for those who want to be lawyers, this may be their first opportunity to really learn more substantively about the law. But even for those who may not ultimately become lawyers, they're just learning more about law, about policy, about government, about politics. And those are just life lessons that will make them better citizens and that will put them on a path of success going forward. Finally, I just wanted to say, we have kids now from across the city, very far north, very far south,
Yes.
both east and west. We really do cover the metropolitan Atlanta area. But you still have kids from all different backgrounds, right? For example, my parents did not go to college and did not work in a professional setting, but then you have people who have, have parents who are lawyers and judges and doctors and business people. And so when they come to us, it's an opportunity to level set, to help everyone understand you are on the same playing field no matter where you're coming from. Here are our expectations. You can do it, you will execute, and we will hold you to the highest standard. And so you see these kids, again, no matter what they've been through, and we've had kids who've had personal challenges through the program, but we challenge them to rise to the occasion, and we're there to support and guide them every step of the way.
Yeah, one of the things I love about the program, because it's so hard in the modern world, is it really provides a coaching, mentorship kind of environment on just the basics of success in life and in professional life, wherever you end up. And I just was so impressed as I looked through the various graduates. Some people have PhDs, many people in the law, but many in other fields as well that have gone on and done amazing things. This is a program the Atlanta Bar has really fully embraced, and as it's grown, it's just become a model program that has a shelf life that no other program ever has, and I think has become really kind of the favorite program for many in the Atlanta Bar. Tell us, Nekia, a little bit now about your role as you become a member of the bar and what you do in it. And Wade, maybe you can touch on just how the bar has come around this program and embraced it.
Absolutely. Well, I was very fortunate and blessed to have been invited to join the SLIP programming committee as a co-chair back in 2009. And for me, that's the ultimate way to give back, right? I credit this program with setting me on the path towards the career that I've been very fortunate to have, and to now take on a leadership role is the ultimate way to show my appreciation for everything that was given to me. So we really do work as a team. The co-chairs are Wade, me, and Natasha Purdue-Silas, who is with the Federal Defender Program and formerly of Eversetts Sutherland. We basically we view our task as carrying out the mission, the three-tiered mission that Wade articulated earlier on in the discussion. We are figuring out who the guest speakers will be because we bring in lawyers, judges, and other influential people from the Atlanta legal community to speak to the students. We are developing the progress tests. We are developing the enrichment, also known as homework, that the students have to complete that will help them learn more about the law and about the program itself. We are finding intern hosts, intern mentors, intern sponsors. We're getting the money in so that we can provide the opportunities for the students. And we are coaching, managing, making sure all the trains run on time when the program is in action. And of course, we're selecting the students as well. So literally from nuts to bolts, that is what the team does. Of course, we don't do it alone. We have the very, very capable assistance of volunteers, people who just find the program to be something that is important to them, but also of the Atlanta Bar, and we have a resource there as well. Wade, what about?
No, you hit all of it. You know, it's interesting we're chatting today, February 15, 2019, because today is the day applications are released. And so we're always excited to reach this day, and then they're due back on March 28th. But just kind of the calendar of the intern program. Applications go out, applications due back, and it is a very involved application, including 2 letters of reference, a transcript, and writing an essay. And the reason we make it a challenging application is we want the students to know that this is a challenging program. Something we do that we're proud of, we offer every student an in-person interview. And how many people remember their first interview? How does this work? And that's always very meaningful, and we're so grateful to our interviewers each year. We have between 10 and 15 interviewers each year, and that's a very meaningful contribution of several hours. And then the program typically starts right after Memorial Day with, as Nekia and I have discussed, the 4 orientations. And then the 6-week intern program starts right about June 10th. Something Nekia touched on and that we've started doing a few years ago is our guest speaker program. And I think the students really, really enjoy that. We bring in speakers from all areas of the law, judges, prosecutors, defense lawyers, entertainment lawyers, you name it, we've heard them speak. And what we ask our guest speakers is, tell them what you wish you had known when you were 17 or 18 and how you got to this point. And I enjoy hearing every one of those speakers and what they can contribute to the students understanding what becomes a lawyer.
And let me jump in. You won't want to name one speaker because then you'll leave somebody else out. But these speakers are from the upper echelons of the law and accomplishment in life. And so it's really an amazing group of people that you bring in to speak to the interns.
You are putting me on the spot, but I would be delighted to name a few. Rodney Bullard, who is the executive director of the Chick-fil-A Foundation, came and spoke a few years ago and just said, you can do this. Find your mentors, respect your teachers, work hard. And he was fantastic. Sally Yates, before she became the Deputy Attorney General, talked about her journey and how she was able to work with so many wonderful mentors who helped guide her career in the early years. Ray Persons, a partner at King & Spalding, talked about growing up in a time of searing racism and how he overcame that and kept his eye on his goals. Bernard Taylor at Alston & Byrd talked about being a policeman in Detroit and how that guided his career as he became a very successful lawyer at Alston & Byrd. Darius Patillo, one of our former interns who's now the DA in Henry County, talked about how he realized he could become a lawyer, through the intern program. So the guest speaker program has just been a wonderful addition, and I know the students look forward to it because then they don't have to listen to us for 10 or 15 minutes. Another thing that Nekia touched on is each week we have enrichment, where we have the students take a topic, torts, contracts, whatever, and we give them a list of questions, and then they need to turn those in. And then finally, something that was touched on a little earlier, Terrence Croft was one of our co-founders, and we have the Terrence Croft essay competition in which the students write 750-word typed essays on a current United States Supreme Court case. And that is always a fantastic thing for the students to do, and then we debate those cases.
In the materials they talk about, you call the Professionalism Bootcamp that you put the interns through. Why did you come up with that name for it, and what's the highlights of it, would you say?
You know, the students would probably say we have at least too many orientations. We could cover everything in two. Again, just want to make sure they understand what's expected of them, and when they walk out of there, out of that last orientation, they say, okay, I know what's expected of me, and I can do this. You know, one thing, I wish Tasha were here to talk about this, is our dress code requirements. I think we all can remember our teen years. We really didn't have professional attire. So we emphasize, you know, the importance of that and what is acceptable. And I think that is, that's very meaningful to the program as well. Nekia, what have I left out?
I think you've covered it very well, Wade. I mean, again, like true boot camp in the military, right? It takes you from wherever you are and gets everybody to the same standard of excellence.
Right.
And that's really our goal. No matter where you're coming from, what side of town, what your parents do or don't do, how much money you have, it doesn't matter. Here are our expectations. Here is what the profession expects of you, not just the program, but the profession. And once those kids see that this is something that they can accomplish and fulfill, really, no matter what their goals are in life, it changes their direction, and then they become laser focused on whatever the path in front of them might be. We've seen it happen with our very own eyes.
Absolutely. Let me add something. Nekia mentioned this. Last summer we had 49 interns from 36 schools. All of these students are getting to know each other, and a common comment once the summer is over, we do an anonymous survey, is many of the students say, you know, when I walked into that first day, I did not know whether I stacked up. But they learn that everybody else is nervous and afraid and how they're going to do, and they grow kind of together. Just a quick story of a young man that really grew impressively in the program. One of the things we use in the orientations is to see who needs perhaps a little extra attention or who's got some uncertainty about things. And also, we're looking, are they going to be on time for our orientations? Are they going to have their enrichment? Are they going to be prepared? And so we had a young intern, and I don't think he'd mind me mentioning his name, Guy James II. He showed up about 10 minutes late for the first orientation. And so at the first break, I said, Guy, I need to chat with you. You can't be late to orientations. It's very, very important. And if you're late again, you're not gonna be able to continue in the program. And so our next orientation was at the State Bar, and I always try and get there about 15 minutes early. And when I was walking in the door, the State Bar official we work with said, one of your interns has been here for an hour and a half. And I said, okay, he got it. And Guy James was later elected by his co-interns to be the graduation speaker, and we laugh about that now. But just to watch Guy's development from, in my opinion, not having really the right attitude walking in the door to just being a fantastic intern and growing in an impressive manner.
Wade, you've always kind of had that scary demeanor. You've kind of gotten me in line a few times over the years. So, you know, this program has grown like crazy. That doesn't happen without a lot of people providing support, law firms, financial support from supporters. Tell us a little bit about just how many law firms are engaged and other firms that support interns, and where the financial support comes from for the program.
Sure. Last summer we had 49 interns. The interns are paid $1,950, so that's roughly $100,000, give or take $95,000. We had approximately 16 private hosts, including Miles Mediation and a number of law firms and companies. And so then we funded 33 interns, which again is roughly $65,000, and contributions from the Atlanta legal community. Incredible support from the Atlanta legal community, most notably the Atlanta Bar Association litigation section, the Atlanta Bar Lawyer Referral and Information Service, and the Atlanta Bar Foundation. So over the years, I think we have raised, well over, $1 million to provide opportunities, and it goes dollar for dollar, obviously. They fund an internship, and then that opportunity is made available. we think the number 49, 45 to 50 is really the right number. We don't ever want to grow so large that the meaningful nature of the program is lost in that.
Yeah.
And I would just add that the entire internship program is obviously very important to the community and to the young interns, but the financial support we receive by and large is used to place interns into organizations and intern hosts that otherwise would not be able to host an intern and pay this stipend. So we're talking judicial chambers, we're talking prosecutors' offices, public defenders' offices, other nonprofit legal organizations. And if you think about how unique those opportunities are, I mean, there's some lawyers who work their whole careers and may never be working with a judge behind the bench, right? Seeing what it takes for the judge to get ready for court, or working in a prosecutor's office, doing those types of things. And so the financial support gives unique opportunities to these students to work in these areas of law where they are very important, but there's only a small number of attorneys there, and they get really that insider seat that may not otherwise be available without the generous donations of members of the bar and other supporters.
And so this is an amazing program. Nekia, you're one of the graduates of the program that, say, wow, look at what this person has accomplished. Darius Patillo, who I also remember from mock trial as the DA at Henry County, Judge Cynthia Adams is another, but there really are many, many others, many lawyers in other fields that have succeeded. And there's other things, I guess, that this program is doing to help make that happen. Tell us about the Highest Heights initiative and what's the thought behind that and what happens with the Highest Heights.
Sure. One thing we had been talking about for several years is how we could help our former interns in their pursuit of their dreams to become lawyers. And so 3 years ago, in approximately 2016, we started what we're calling the Highest Heights Initiative. And we had previously given the interns, the challenge of having a good internship, and now we wanted to champion them as they, again, pursued their goal of becoming a lawyer. And one of the challenges for aspiring lawyers is one, taking a law school admissions test prep course. They're very expensive, anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500. And then once you graduate from law school, the bar review, which can run from $2,500 to $3,000. And we came to learn that some of our former interns, were not taking LSAT prep courses, trying to do it on their own. Also study for the bar without the benefit of a bar review program. And so we set about raising money to help support them in that. And to date, we've raised approximately $50,000. And we funded 10 former interns either in taking the LSAT prep course or the bar review class. Very, very, very proud of that. A special mention to David Schaefer, who got us a springboard out of the gate. He was climbing a mountain, and a bunch of us supported him per foot. And we raised, through David's efforts, $20,000. So that got us started. So really, really, really proud of that. And that also, not only does that keep us connected to the interns in supporting them tangibly, also intangibly, and just knowing that we support them.
That's absolutely right. It's so important. And I usually confess this, that I did not take an LSAT prep course. Can't recall if it's because I actually didn't have the money or if I just believed that I didn't have the money. But either way, I missed a huge opportunity, right, to put myself on a path for maybe even greater success. And I always tell young people, don't miss that opportunity to get a wonderful score, which will then boost all the other parts of your application. And that's the thing, it's a slippery slope, right? It's a snowball effect. Better LSAT score might mean a better law school, which might mean better job opportunities in the future. Ultimately, the goal of this program, and Wade has already said it, but it bears mentioning again, is to put these young people on the path towards success. And we realized that this was a place where some just they didn't even know that they were stumbling a bit.
Yeah.
And we had seen some instances where we knew we had talented young people, but because they didn't take a prep course, right, and didn't make the right score on a test, they may have either not gone to law school at all because they were so disappointed, or maybe had made a selection that was maybe not the best selection. And so we wanted to figure out a way to avoid those fits and starts in the future. And this, at least what we've seen, it has been met with some great success, and we are really looking forward to seeing what it does going forward, both for the LSAT prep piece as well as the bar review piece. Very proud of this and just so excited that it's been set up.
Let me ask you, sort of as a catch-all, you've shared so much about this amazing program and just the story of how it's flowered and come to life. What would you guys say is maybe the secret sauce of the summer law internship program, and where do you see the future of the program?
You know, in terms of the secret sauce, it's just everybody's accountable to everybody. The co-chairs are accountable to each other. We all perform our roles and do them in a way that the others can be confident that they're happening. As we've grown the program, there's just been a lot to do. It really is almost a year-long process. And with the students, just again, giving them meaningful, challenging opportunities and demanding their excellence in everything they do. You know, secret sauce is secret, so who really knows? But I think if I were to summarize it, Nekia, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, again, Wade is too humble to just say what we all know to be true. He, in my opinion, is the secret sauce. And even if we don't make it specific to Wade, organizations that usually succeed over, decades, there's usually some continuity in leadership, right? Either because that leader is still there and is equally as committed, or there's been some really good succession planning, right? Here, we're very, very fortunate that we have one of the founders who is still in a position to be so actively involved. And in my view, Wade has set up an infrastructure where if there comes a day where he can no longer be involved, he has planned things out so well that whoever picks it up will hit the ground running. So in my view, that is at least a part, can't tell you all of the ingredients to the secret formula, but that is a huge part that I think is public knowledge within the public domain at this point, that you have a committed founder and leader who's been here to guide it literally each and every step of the way for almost 30 years.
Well, Nekia, I really agree with you. Wade sent me some packets of material to look at, and of course have known about the program for years. But what came to my mind, Wade, as I was just thinking about this in the 30 years we've known each other, 30 plus years, is it's just a tremendous legacy of love. Because, Wade, when Darius Patello ascended to the DA position, Wade was there. He builds into the lives of these young people like he does his own children. And that kind of vision and commitment gives life to a program. And I think that you've been committed to building life skills so that people can accomplish what they want to do and their goals in their life. I always say life is a mediation, being a mediator, and that's what you're training these young people to do, to mediate the challenges of life, and so you're to be commended for it. Let me let you guys each give a closing word. You both have had tremendous successful careers up to this point as litigators, both in I know Nekia in the criminal and civil arena, and Wade as a commercial litigator. Where do you see the program in the future, and where do you guys see yourselves in the next 5 or 10 years? What do you envision as the next chapter as it unfolds for the program and for yourselves?
One thing I'm really proud about the program is our staying power, our durability. This is going to be our 27th summer. And I just feel like we are a mature program. When we reached 25 years, I said, okay, the first 25 are done, let's get going. One thing that I'm just really thankful for, something Nekia touched on, is the continuity of those working on it. Nekia has been involved now as a co-chair after being an intern. She's been a co-chair. This is your 11th or 12th summer. Tasha Silas, this will be her 19th summer. My colleague, Sarah Arnold, has come on board, and it's going to be her 3rd summer. And then Denisha Wise, who's at the Atlanta Bar, her 4th summer. So we've just got a lot of continuity in the oversight of the program. In terms of the future, it's to me, it's just an unlimited and rosy future. I almost feel like we're just getting started. Every summer brings a new group of interns, and you know what? They're interested in the first 26, 27 years, but basically they don't care. They want a great experience that they can take with them. I'm just grateful to have been a part of this program. I've gotten so much more out of it than I ever put into it.
Nekia, anything you want to add?
Sure. I think that, hopefully I'm still here working alongside my friend and mentor, Wade Malone, in 5 to 10 years. But I think ultimately the goal is to continue the pipeline, right? Taking young people at an early age and seeing them through their career paths, whatever it might be, generally speaking, but certainly if they're within the legal profession. And we've done a great job in the time that I've been a part of the program, and since the program was founded in 1993, done a great job at making sure that the young people get that exposure, that we fulfill the mission, the three-tiered mission that we talked about earlier on. And if I were visioning out in the short to medium term, I would think that the next step is to think about, okay, how do we make sure that we are getting these kids, those who want to go to law school, what can we do to facilitate that part of the pipeline? And so I think we have some additional discussions and work to do there, but who knows? If we've had our druthers, maybe there's a pipeline for our kids to go to a certain law school, right? That might want to establish a partnership with us, or a scholarship program where we're able to support one student and provide them with full tuition. This is just me kind of visioning, having conferred with my co-chairs, but making sure that we continue to excel in the part of the pipeline where we are currently focused, but to see ways that we can extend that going forward. Of course, no person is an island, doing this with the support of the legal community here in Atlanta and beyond.
Yeah. Okay, so Miles Mediation participated last year for the first time and had a tremendous experience with our summer law intern, Alex. He was great. And so let me ask you guys, in your practice, how ADR has come into the fold and the sweep of your practice. Wade, when you and I started out, 30 years ago or so, mediation was really still out there on the horizon for the most part. How has it become a part of the everyday part of your practice?
Absolutely critical. Every case of any significance that I have goes to mediation, and a quality mediator is worth everything. It means everything. A quality mediator can settle a difficult case, and sometimes a mediation takes many forms. You don't get to settle in the mediation. The mediator follows up. But one of the things that we talk about in the intern program is people tend to have hardened views of things, and we're always talking to our interns about understanding the other side's perspective. So I'm a tremendous proponent of mediation and thankful that we have such wonderful mediators here in Atlanta.
Absolutely. And, my background, similar to yours, David, coming from a world where mediation and arbitration is not an option, right? Yeah. When you're a federal criminal prosecutor. Now that I've transitioned back to a world where I still do, criminal work, but now I have an opportunity to be also involved in the civil world, I now have a more fulsome appreciation of the value that arbitrators and mediators bring to any matter. But, it doesn't matter what the industry, what the underlying issues are, there's someone out there who can sort of bring that independent judgment to, like Wade said, to help soften the positions. And even if there's no resolution on that day, I believe that generally speaking, there's usually a value to be had by having that cooler head in the room that ultimately yields better outcomes for the clients. So, I found great value, and I've actually heard that in some instances that even with government civil matters, and I haven't had this experience, but that sometimes some of the federal civil attorneys are willing to mediate some of these False Claims Act, very high dollar value investigations. Yeah. So haven't had that experience yet, but trust me, if I get the opportunity, I will be seeing if we can use ADR to resolve a high stakes government investigation.
Well, Nekia and Wade, this has been a delight to sit down with you guys for a few minutes and hear about this amazing, amazing program that both of you have been involved in for really more than a quarter of a century. And it's just an awesome, awesome testament to your efforts and the efforts of many, many others. It would be remiss as I close, since we have a college catcher here with us, to fail to ask Wade what his prognosis for the Atlanta Braves is. So Wade, tell us what your call is for the Braves in 2019.
You know, the Braves were ahead of schedule last year, winning the National League East, and it looks like a potentially fantastic season, and hopefully the young guys will continue to develop, and the veterans like Freeman, Inciarte, and Markakis will continue to have great careers.
Spoken like a mediator. Thank you.
For more information about the Atlanta Bar Association's Summer Law Internship Program, check out abaslip.blogspot.com or contact our team at The Future of Resolution, and we'll put you in touch with Nekia or Wade. Thank you for listening. You've been listening to The Future of Resolution, the podcast. You can follow The Future of Resolution on Miles Mediation and Arbitration's Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If you haven't yet, go to Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, and subscribe, rate, or review this podcast. Join us soon for another interesting discussion. Thank you for listening. For more information about Miles Mediation and Arbitration, visit our website at milesmediation.com.